Hi everyone, Neil Welch, agility coach here. I'm going to build on a little bit of the reactive strength work that we've talked about previously. Now again, just to recap on our reactive strength, we talk about developing our bounciness. My image in my head when I'm performing my reactive strength exercises is a bouncy ball just rebounding off the floor. Okay, developing reactive strength is about developing your use of all the elasticity that exists in your tendons and exists in your muscles. Okay, so that sensation, that cue of bounciness becomes really important for us here. Now in the last couple of videos we've talked about using skipping, so some of us might be progressed on from our double leg skips onto single legs and running, maybe even some of our crossovers if we're getting really into it, and that's great for developing some of our early reactive strength at a relatively low level. But then we talked about progressing it, so our pogos to give us a little bit more amplitude, our drop squat and jumps again to start trying to push the amount of force we can produce. But again, those groups of exercises have one thing in common, in that they're all working vertically, which is great if you've got to get up off the floor, if you've got to beat your man in the air, so if you're trying to take a rebound or catch a mark. They're all really important bits of performance, but what we're really interested in is being able to beat our man on the ground. Okay, so either sticking with someone when we're defending or putting some force through the floor in order to be able to sidestep the defender. In that case, when we're talking about our reactive strength, we have to develop our ability to do that sideways. Now we've talked about the importance of our lateral push-offs before. What we're starting to do is bring a reactive component into that. Now again, body position is really important. I keep going on about this and on about this, but it's so important for injury prevention and performance as well. So the position I'm looking for is that hip dominant pattern. Okay, the weight is still on the front of the foot, but the bum's gone backwards and the clue is in the upper body. I have to have a bit of a lean. The slower I am starting, the slower speed, the lower I'll get. Okay, the faster I am bringing a bit of momentum, the more upright I'm going to be. Now in order to start developing our reactive strength, our lateral reactive strength, we need to introduce a sideways component. So again, we'll start off at a really low level. I'm just going to go from one foot to the other and just go through my lateral rebound. And again, I've got my break at the hips here. I'm in my ready position, weights on the front of the foot. It's just a little in and out movement. And again, we want to do that on both sides. So we're down in ready position, in and then out. And again, really important you tie in to that bounciness cue. You have to have the rebound. Then we can start pushing things on a little bit once we become more comfortable. So we can either increase the load in, so I jump a bit further and I have to try and push out, I've got more momentum coming in, or I try and develop the power out of the turn and I try and push out further than where I jumped in. Okay, but you'll notice on both of those I'm still focusing on my bounciness. If I jump too far, it's too hard for me, I don't get my reactive strength, I don't get my rebound component. Okay, so that's our first little bit of development of reactive strength, is introducing just a lateral rebound. Now again, it's relatively rare that we're just going to be producing a 180-degree cut like this. Okay, so we can start changing the angles in, and that's how we progress. Okay, so I'm going to introduce a bit more of a 45-degree cut here. So again, to bounce in and then out. Again, really important, I'm just focusing on my bounciness cue. I get into my hip dominant position to start off with, in and then out. And again, I want to make sure that it feels pretty good on both legs. I don't want to just become a right-footed or left-footed sidestepper. I want to make sure the defender is interested in both directions when I'm trying to attack them. So in and then out. Okay, so 45 degree in, 45 degree out, that's a 90-degree cut. And then we want to start adding in, say, a straight line into our shallower cuts. Okay, so this is what we'll be using if we're higher speed and we're trying to beat a man at a shallower cutting angle. Okay, so it's just straight in and a shallower rebound. So again, just to progress and recap, starting off with a purely lateral rebound in order to be able to develop our reactive strength, and then we just start mixing up the angles. So again, you either increase the jump in or you try to increase the power out of that rebound.